Very good evening and welcome. Thanks for staying with us here on CNN News 18. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Kritsween Walia. We're bringing to you this live telecast from CNN News 18 Prime Time Studio. Well, viewers, after the Riyasi attack on Sunday, which left 9 people dead, terrorists launched fresh attacks in Doda and Kathua districts. Last evening in Doda, a joint checkpoint was attacked and 6 security personnel were injured in the encounter that ensued. A massive search operation has been launched to track down the terrorists in Kathua. In the meanwhile, as per the officials, the villagers received suspicious, or rather they were suspicious of the terrorists after they asked for water from multiple houses. And when the locals raised an alarm, the terrorists fired randomly. This, in fact, led to one CRPF braveheart also losing his life. In fact, reports have it that the group was carrying sophisticated weapons as well. And while search operations to nab the suspected terrorists in Riyasi also continue, these 2 attacks now have raised alarm bells over the new modus operandi of the Pakistan-based terrorists and is a grim reminder of growing terror activities in the Pir Panjal region, along with some of the previously secure pockets of Jammu as well. For over a decade or two, remember, terrorism was largely confined to the Kashmir Valley, with some isolated incidents in other parts of J&K. But this shift in their strategy is a worrying sign. Before we talk about the attempt to downplay the seriousness of the situation in the valley by some, let's take a closer look at the areas that need renewed attention. And there's a reason why we're saying this. There's a pattern to this. So let's quickly take a look at the map first, a map that we've put out to establish what are the key concerns and what are the patterns that we're seeing really that's been chosen by some of these Pakistan-based terrorists to strike recently. What you're clearly seeing, and let me highlight this for you, this red line is the line of control, and here is the orange line which essentially marks the Pir Panjal range for you. You can clearly see Baramulla, Budgam, Pulwama, Shopia, Kokarnag on one side of Pir Panjal range, and this is what we saw more often than not were terror hotspots, terror hotbeds. And this is where most of the terror-related activities were confined to. But now we see a shift. Now we see the terrorists slowly move to this side of the Pir Panjal range, and now they're targeting areas like Poonch, Rajouri. Here you can see Poonch is on this side, very close to the line of control, and that's what is being said, that many of these terrorists are actually moving from Pakistan, from the other side of line of control. Rajouri, once again, we marked out for you. Riyasi is where the recent terror strikes took place, remember, wherein a bus came under direct attack. I also want you to closely look at these 2 districts. That of Samba, that's one. Kathua, there's also Doda. So Kathua and Doda, these are the 2 areas where we've seen terror strikes very recently. So that's what this map goes on to establish, pretty much the pattern that is being adopted by some of these Pakistan-based terrorists. So we've broken down the area geographically for you. Now let's talk about the 3 deadly attacks that have taken place in 3 days in the Jammu region. Let's talk about them one by one. Remember, it all started on the 9th of June. This was in Riyasi at a time when Narendra Modi and his new cabinet was being sworn in at Rashtrapati Bhavan. And what we saw was how a 53-seat bus carrying pilgrims in Jammu and Kashmir's Riyasi fell into a gorge after terrorists opened fire at the bus. 9 people eventually lost their lives, and even kids were not spared. So this is the incident from the 9th. Let's talk about what happened on 11th evening. Last evening, we saw terrorists attack specific groups in Doda and in Kathua. So 2 simultaneous terror strikes that we took place. In Kathua, terrorists went door to door asking for water, but the villagers shut the doors on their faces, leading to an attack. A Central Reserve Police Force personnel also lost his life in the encounter. And a gunfight also erupted, and terrorists attacked a joint checkpoint of police and security forces. This happened simultaneously in Doda district. This led to 5 army soldiers and 1 police officer sustaining injuries. So total of 5 security personnel also ended up sustaining serious injuries. That's what happened 11th evening, both in Doda and Kathua. So these are 3 worrying incidents that have unfolded in the past 72 hours alone. Let's now take a look at some of the terror attacks in Jammu region recently, because the focus is now shifting to Jammu region. It's shifting to the Pir Panjal range area, the neighboring adjacent area to the Pir Panjal ranges. On the 4th of May 2024, Not too long ago, an Indian Air Force convoy was attacked by terrorists. One soldier killed, 4 others had sustained injuries. In fact, a Lashkar link also came to the fore as far as this 4th May incident is concerned. On 20th April 2024 in Udhampur, a village defense guard member was killed in a shootout with terrorists. Now, this is what happened again in the month of April. Once again in April on the 22nd, we saw how a terrorist struck Rajouri. The Territorial Army soldier's brother was killed in this firing incident. So what we're learning is how even family members of those serving the nation are not being spared. And this is not just limited to the 2024. In 2023, in fact, January onwards, we saw several of these terror strikes take place. We start with December 21, 2023. Here's when 5 army soldiers were killed in encounter with terrorists. Moving on to, once again, in 2023, November 2022 is when 4 army personnel, including 2 captains, were killed. There was also a major who in fact lost his life in this particular encounter. On 5th May 2023, once again, we saw terrorists strike Rajouri. 5 Indian Air Force soldiers were killed when terrorists triggered an IED blast with remote control. This incident occurred during combing operation. 5 Indian Air Force personnel were killed in this incident. On 20th April 2023 in Poonch, this attack came to the fore. 5 personnel from Rashtriya Rifles were killed when terrorists ambushed an army vehicle, and we've seen this pattern emerge time and again. Army convoys, vehicles coming under attack. In January last year, terrorists also once again targeted Rajouri. 4 civilians were killed, 7 sustained injuries. This happened at the Upper Dhangri village. So a host of incidents, and you see all of this started essentially since January 2023. One were to draw a timeline. Since then, we've seen these kind of repeated attacks. So far, they were limited to the Pir Panjal region and areas adjacent to the Pir Panjal. And now we see slowly they're moving into Jammu. Let's take a look at why there is a spike in terror incidents in Jammu region. Let's find out some of the possible reasons, and we've picked up as per our sources some of these key reasons, and this is where the focus now shifts. Rough terrain, tough terrain is also something that the agencies are looking at because it's difficult to map these areas, and terrorists are retreating into forests around the mountain range. So this is one big concern. Reason number 1. Reason number 2. Dense forest acts as a natural hideout as well, which is on obvious lines. So they're hiding in these dense jungles. These jungles are interconnected, and so that makes the escape also easy. So that's what is aiding them in their escape. Reason number 4, this is very interesting, dhoks. These are typically used by locals in summer months. They vacate them, they head down south to warmer places in winters. These are also used as hideouts by terrorists. And many security experts have in fact spoken about them being used. Natural caves also make an attractive destination for terrorists to camp. So dhoks, natural caves, again a concern. Reason number 5, intelligence gathering becomes challenging. And we say this because sometimes terrorists stick to guerrilla tactics, and that in fact ensures that they're not coming in contact with civilians, and that's what makes it very difficult to really pin them down. That's reason number 5. Reason number 6, Pakistan, remember, is also trying to expand its footprint beyond Kashmir. They're moving into previously secure areas of Jammu and Kashmir. So from the valley, now the movement is slowly going towards Jammu. Reason number 7, possible attempt to challenge normalcy narrative. This, remember, is what's been said by the Modi government time and again ever since abrogation of Article 370 took place. A counter to that perhaps may be on the cards. Reason number 8, counter-terrorism grid in Kashmir is stronger because there were so many increased, heightened terrorist activities in Kashmir Valley, Shopian, Pulwama. All of that was the focus of the agencies. Naturally speaking, the deployment from here has moved towards Kashmir. That may be one of the reasons. And reason number 9, attempt to activate border from Uttar Pradesh to Punjab. If we talk about districts like Kathua and Doda, they're very close to Punjab. They're almost bordering with Punjab, and that's why we speak of this reason as well as an important one. So we've tried to bring it down to some of the core reasons. Now, with the security agencies trying to counter the immediate terror threat, Omar Abdullah of the National Conference has once again said that talks with Pakistan is the need of the hour, possibly also forgetting Uri, Pulwama, Rajouri, and now Reasi and Kathua and Doda in the latest. Which brings us to this question. Jammu terror attacks. Remember, 3 strikes in 3 days we've seen. But who is trivializing terror? We'll open this up with our guests in just a bit, but hear it for yourself as well on what's going on.
Problem with neighbor will not be solved by military action. Unless we talk to our neighbors, we will not be able to solve, because these terrorists are coming over the border. Any small incident that might take place in that will be blown up in the rest of the country.
जो नैरेटिव है कि 370 हटने के बाद हालात बिल्कुल नॉर्मल हो, उसको काउंटर करने का सबसे अच्छा तरीका है कि लोगों में खौफ पैदा किया जाए।
कुछ जो पुंछ राजौरी की ओर यहाँ पर गतिविधियां बढ़ी हैं, निश्चय ही चिंताजनक है।
इस नए कश्मीर में आतंकी हमले रोज हो रहे हों और प्रधानमंत्री के मुंह से एक शब्द नहीं निकलता हो, इसका जवाब कौन देगा?
3 दिन में 3 हमले हुए हैं, तो जिम्मेदार कौन है? क्या अब भी मोदी जी वहां नहीं जाएंगे?
तो यहाँ पर जो उन्होंने 370 की बात कही थी, 370 हट जाएगा, हट गया तो सारी चीजें समाप्त हो गई। मैं समझता हूँ कि सारी चीजें केवल दिखावटी हैं, इनको प्रभावी तरीके से कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए।
मुझे लगता है कि केंद्र सरकार को अपनी विदेश नीति के ऊपर दोबारा से सभी दलों के साथ चर्चा करनी चाहिए।
Let's quickly open this up with our guest joining us this evening. Let me quickly begin by introducing Zishan Rana, spokesperson of the National Conference. Also with us is Wing Commander Abhishek Matiman, former spokesperson of the Ministry of Defence as well. He'll be able to put the entire equation in perspective for us and this new pattern that we're witnessing really across Jammu and Kashmir. Aarti Tikku Singh, a journalist, is with us as well on this broadcast at 6 p.m. But I want to first up begin with the national spokesperson of the BJP, Shazia Ilmi. Shazia, since we ended our explainer with the reactions that came in from the opposition, all of them aimed at the Modi Sarkar. They say abrogation of Article 370 has happened. Several tall claims have been made by the Modi Sarkar of how normalcy prevails in Jammu and Kashmir, but these are not signs of normalcy.
No, they're not. In fact, they're a matter of grave concern. The escalation that we see in terrorist activities around this region and the whole landscape shifting indeed is a matter of grave concern, and one cannot in any way undermine it. But to place it and make it only about politics shows exactly what the idea behind these people is, and which is to take away and belittle the process of normalization that is underway. And we have seen huge benefits that have come through, and how removal and abrogation of Article 370 has reaped great benefits for more and more citizens in the valley and around. So it is exactly to take away from that that all this is being done. And I find it very disdainful that there are parties like NC who still agree and want to promote mazakarat or talks with Pakistan. I think it's impossible. They have without peace, without saying no, without stopping the cross-border terrorism and the export that we have to that we don't ask for. There can be no talk. There's no possibility of any dialogue whatsoever. So. Also, I heard all the leaders of the opposition. You know, is this the time when there is a security threat and everything is being done by agencies, and we believe in our armed forces and the might of our army, our CRPF, our Jawans there, our security forces across the agencies.
Okay.
Is this a time to attack the government? Shouldn't they be asking this of Pakistani agencies instead of asking our own government? We're on the same side, aren't we?
Okay.
We're on the same side.
Okay.
That is my question.
Zishan, are we on the same side? Because, you know, Farooq Abdullah comes out to say that talks is the only solution. But where is the party's loyalty? Where is Mr. Abdullah's loyalty? Because that's the question that is being asked by the Bharatiya Janata Party today. Come up with a solution. Is talks your only solution? How has that helped us in the past before?
Yeah, obviously, we are on the same side as far as the security and the safety of the people are concerned. But I feel that something is not going in the right direction. We have failed to understand that why there has been a sudden surge in the Jammu region with areas that were previously cleared of all militants, now witnessing a return of militancy in those areas.
No, one is you're raising pertinent questions with the Modi Sarkar, with the NDA government. It's now an NDA government. You're wanting to raise certain questions about the security situation in the country. Yes, you're most welcome to do so. But why are you wanting to be in the good books of Pakistan, Mr. Rana?
See, I would say that it was Mr. Vajpayee who said that we cannot replace our neighbors. We can replace our friends. So it was Mr. Vajpayee, the Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister of this country. And I feel that eye for an eye can never be an option. Eye for eye can never be an option. We have to see that dialogue is the only way forward. You cannot achieve peace without having dialogue.
Okay, did you not see signs of dialogues in 2014, sir? Did you not see the Prime Minister back then as well visit Lahore, a surprise visit? What happened then? Uri happened, following which Pulwama happened. Have we forgotten all of that?
See, we have n number of examples in front of us. We have seen country, those who are in war with each other, they talked and they sat down and they resolved their issues. Now the thing is that when Article 370 was abrogated in 2019, you remember, all of us remember that Amit Shah ji, on the floor of the House, he said that Article 370 was the root cause of terrorism. Now what happened? You have your own people, own choice of people, those who are occupying prime posts. Be it at the center.
Okay, I want to go across to Shazia. We've heard from you. You're saying enough is not being done. Just making tall promises and not seeing that implement on ground zero is not going to really work. But the fact is, perhaps Wing Commander can put this in perspective for us. I want to take in a word from Aarti as well, because it's not just limited to Omar Abdullah or Farooq Abdullah batting for talks with Pakistan. It goes much beyond that. But before I take that to Aarti, Sir Abhishek Matimanji, please tell us what the situation is, because the Modi government has time and again come out to say that there's been a marked difference, and we've seen it. We've seen, how there's been a decline in terrorist activities. We've seen a difference when it comes to ceasefire as well. The ceasefire violations have come down. What are we witnessing on ground zero? What does your analysis say?
See, going strictly by facts. Last 10 years, as you just said, we have seen a sharp decline in terror incidents from across the border. At the same time, whatever used to happen very frequently earlier has been brought under control to a certain extent. Abrogation of Article 370 and the progress in the right direction thereafter is for everyone to see. I can't agree with the people just for the heck, just to oppose the current government or the current dispensation, equating the present situation with what used to happen earlier on. The magnitude of the problems and the frequency of infiltration bids and terror attacks used to be far greater than what it is now. So we have moved in the correct direction. What has happened actually is in the Kashmir area, valley per se, we already have a very well-oiled and seasoned, I must say, intelligence apparatus, as well as the machinery there, who have been deep into operations all these years. Jammu, where lies the international border and comparatively a place less vulnerable to infiltration, therefore, now, in view of the recent attacks, will need to be reinforced, probably slight mobilization or readjustment of troops to counter this.
Okay.
But rest assured, I'm going
to have to pause you there, Wing Commander, and we'll want to take this aspect forward as well on whether or not this is, a beneficial territory for some of these terrorists. Our sources say that this is a big group that's infiltrated very recently, and they've further broken into smaller groups, so they're not very easy to track down. I want to cover that aspect. I promise I'm coming back to you in in just a few minutes. Aarti, to take it from where Wing Commander left and what Shazia was also saying, the fact that there are questions being raised by the government and they must be raised, the solution must be arrived upon, because this is very concerning. Imagine 3 attacks in the last 72 hours alone. But is there a larger problem that perhaps Mr. Zishan Rana is failing to address? Remember the kind of sympathy we've seen several J&K mainstream leaders show time and again towards these terrorists. And Burhan Wani case is, a sample in point. Remember how the mainstream enabled terrorists and there was an attempt to disable our armed forces. It's a pattern that we see time and again.
Yes. Well, absolutely. It's an open secret that Dr. Farooq Abdullah, in fact, patronized JKLF. It's an open secret that Mehbooba Mufti used to visit the residences of Hizbul Mujahideen terrorists. Once they were killed, she would go and mourn the killings of terrorists in Kashmir. So there is no doubt about it that there has been a tacit support for conflict in Kashmir. In fact, I have been repeatedly saying this, that whether it's National Conference headed by Abdullahs or it's PDP headed by the Muftis, they have been propagating soft separatism and openly, and also been actually giving a cover fire to terrorism by apologizing for terrorists. In fact, Mehbooba Mufti's entire policy was healing touch for militants and their families. Likewise, Dr. Farooq Abdullah repeatedly has said that, if his father was alive, he would have been the first separatist himself. There is no doubt that these two political parties have blackmailed the government of India for the last 75 years. And through that blackmail, they've been in power repeatedly, one after another. And that is why they would always press upon talking to Pakistan, even as India has had several rounds of talks through different administrations, through different dispensations, starting from Jawaharlal Nehru till Vajpayee and till Manmohan Singh. We have had several rounds of talks with Pakistan, but after each round, there has been a terror attack. And it's shameful that these political party leaders continue to apologize for Pakistan's cross-border terrorism. Instead, they should be saying that we should dismantle the terror network, the terror infrastructure that exists in Pakistan, that exists in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. They should be actually saying...
So they should be dealt with an iron fist. No soft approach, no soft power, no soft diplomacy. None of that has yielded results. None of that has proven to be advantage for us. Why should we engage in that? Zishan Rana, Aarti summed it up really well. Talks have happened. Several chances have been given to Pakistan time and again, and they've clearly not worked out. That's for a reason that today we say talks and terror can't go hand in hand. Why can't a national conference, for example, settle with that?
See, I would say that we all know this, that Jammu and Kashmir doesn't need more bloodshed in its name.
So this is actually, before that, sir, this is actually about loyalties.
Let me come.
Where do your loyalties lie?
We lost more than 3,000 of our workers, ministers and MLAs to terrorists. And now Ms. Aarti Singh is saying that we were hand in gloves with the terrorists. Then why did we lose more than 3,000 of our leaders, workers and ministers to terrorists?
I did not say
the fact of the matter is,
you just said that.
The fact of the matter is, Zishan Rana, Aarti, let me reframe it. Let me reframe it, Zishan Rana. Let me reframe it. What I've seen in Jammu and Kashmir is that the mainstream parties, hear me out, the mainstream parties are often oscillating between...
I tell you one thing, we had an option of going to Pakistan in 1947. We chose this country, and now you cannot...
Which brings me back to my question, always oscillating between being in Pakistan's good books and not being anti-India. You need to really take a stated position, sir.
We chose this great country, but you cannot tell us that now we are hand gloves with Pakistan. Every time you people are
These
just-
two
no,
particular
no, no.
families,
I want to-
especially the Abdullahs,
Okay.
Sheikh Abdullah
Zishan says we
Abdullah
are the
I want to
victim,
come in,
Aarti.
please.
We are the
With-
victim.
with the
And then
British and the
Shazia. Quickly,
Americans.
30 seconds, respond to him.
Yeah, I
then
just
I'll go
want
to
to come in.
Shazia. Shazia, I'm coming to you. 30 seconds. Aarti.
I was basically saying that it was Sheikh Abdullah who was hobnobbing with the Americans and the British, and this is well-known, documented fact that the plebiscite front, this entire movement for separatism, began with Sheikh Abdullah, and it's been
And
continuing since then.
it was Sheikh Abdullah. Miss
now-
Aarti, it was
now-
Sheikh Abdullah
now
who
Farooq
made it sure that
Abdullah-
Jammu and Kashmir
Farooq Abdullah's-
became a part of India.
Farooq Abdullah's
He was-
visit to
it was Sheikh
Pakistan's
Abdullah.
occupied Jammu and
It was
Kashmir
only
and
because
meeting
of his
with
policies.
Zishan,
And his efforts.
I've allowed you your time.
I want
Please
to
let
just
others
come
come
in.
in, and then I'll come back to you.
You cannot
Shazia.
simply blame
Shazia.
those
Yeah,
persons who were responsible.
I just want to say one thing here. So I have a huge, you know, what does the new Indian, today's India, and the average Kashmiri citizen want? We don't want lectures on politics and history, and what the history of National Conference has been. We have seen since the abrogation the strong end to terror funding, financing. Not just that, relentless military operations. If you look at the military curve, the violence curve, you realize how great it's been in terms of either local recruits or even foreign-based operatives coming in. And you see how the number has fallen. 750 militants have been killed by security forces in Jammu Kashmir in the last 4 years. And contrary to popular perception, 83% of of those who were killed have been militants who were homegrown, and very few had come from abroad. Which means that even internally there is strict watch as to what is going on.
Let's forget NC and PDP for a second, Shazia. But the challenge here for the Modi government is another. The fact that these terrorists are trying to strike hard on our soil time and again is perhaps the Pakistan propaganda being furthered. But they're trying to defy the Modi government's narrative that all is well in the valley. How do you plan to counter that? And something really needs to be done about it, because there's a message that's being sent here.
Yes, and it's very troubling and very disturbing. It was done only as a political ruse on a certain day to give a message, and I think that's very unfortunate. We need voices from all across, even the opposition, to be responsible to the cause of an average Kashmiri and an average Indian at this point of time. And yes, to have faith in all security forces and or the personnel out there. And also better intel. Pir Panjal, you see the kind of terrain it is. It's very easy for militants to retreat into that. So there are real factors that we have to look at instead of politics. I think we waste our time after time talking about politics. I really don't care what NC stands for and PDP stands for. What we stand for is security, better security and safety for our people. So I think that in politics has marred this issue for far too long. As a sovereign country, strong country, we should do everything possible without dabbling with all those who are naysayers and who apologize for terrorists.
Okay,
I think
you're saying you're not going to allow politics come in the way. Wing Commander Abhishek, yes, you want to come in.
See, the fact remains that the last few years, maybe around 8 or 10 years, has been the longest period of Pakistan being in such a desperate state. Look at their condition now. They have been trying everything that they could to be able to at least negotiate with India. Our government, in the right spirit and in the right sense, has refused unless an environment is created for peace talks to go on. And look at where have they landed.
Yes.
They are going around the world.
Should we
Even
not
in UN,
open
they
our
are
doors to them?
irrelevant.
Wing Commander, should we or should we not listen to Farooq Abdullah?
Farooq Abdullah has lost his elections. Farooq Abdullah has been discredited long time back. What needs to be done is these are acts of desperation to be taken in the right spirit. If they have forgotten the right action which had been taken a few years back, please reiterate them.
Zishan, those are personal opinions, please.
Don't be a spokesperson.
I'm not going to allow that on my show. No, let's not do this. I'm coming to you next. Let's not do this.
You are defaming.
He's a retired wing commander. He can very well put out his opinion.
Our new India, after the abrogation of Article 370, knows knows how to extract our peace, and so does our government. And you can see by virtue of their actions in the last few years, if the terror organizations and the people controlling them need a rude reminder, so be it. We are capable, and I see it coming in the not so far future.
Okay, I'll go across to Zishan in just a bit, but Wing Commander, follow-up question. This is what we began with. You know, we spoke of how there's been a shift in the strategy of some of these terrorists. Now, for the longest time, we've seen Kashmir Valley being targeted by these terrorists, and like I said, some of the isolated regions of Jammu and Kashmir as well. But isn't the shift to Jammu, places like Doda, Kathua, worrying? What happened in Riyasi, isn't that worrying, sir?
See, it's not that these people have not been taken care of, but it's about a slight change in tactics, which even these people are capable of thinking about, and that is what they do. That is, this particular area is the vegetation. As far as the vegetation and the terrain is concerned, it gives them a better masking effect than the higher altitudes that lie around the valley region. So this is not going to last for long. Rest assured, we'll soon be able to get to them, and the countermeasures that would be put in place will be able to overall their misadventures
but in your
in the coming
understanding, Wing
days.
Commander, before I go across to Zishan and then we'll have to come to a close, in your understanding, what are the main challenges that the security forces continue to face? Or do you think that the problem will very well be solved by just increasing the troop deployment? Because remember, it's only the last 2 decades that have seen a significant shift in the troop deployment towards LAC and other areas in Kashmir that have seen heightened terrorism. So is that, or rather reinstating that, going to fix the problem?
See, there are no quick fix solutions or hard and fast methods to go by. As far as the technology is concerned, you cannot be blaming the government, because the technology in the hands of the soldiers, particularly in the troubled regions, is top of the line and absolutely in sync with whatever best is available to us. Apart from that, there are natural things, topographical features, and the geography of a region which does come into play. We cannot put even if we have the best of the aircrafts in the world, these are not the situations wherein you can deploy air power for these kind of incidents. Finally, the man of the ground will have to pick up the man, even with the best of the night vision goggles or devices at his disposal. We'll just need to wait for a while. Countermeasures are in place. Troops will be mobilized, and they will be countered in the best possible way, like the Indian Army is known to do.
Okay, going back to Zishan once again, he's been waiting patiently. He's let everybody else speak. Zishan, you know, there's a common sentiment here. I see the 3 people come out to opine one thing very clearly, that, you know, while the thought process of several J&K mainstream politicians was, you know, that they kept including terrorists into mainstream by telling people that it's going to incentivize them, it's going to de-radicalize them. What we actually saw was the opposite. And it's for everyone to see that strategy stands clearly exposed today.
See, one thing is for sure, that the people of Jammu and Kashmir have suffered immensely in the last 3 decades. And as far as Jammu and Kashmir National Conference is concerned, as a responsible citizen of this country and as a responsible member of a premier political party of Jammu and Kashmir, I would say that we will support every move of this government.
As per you, we are suffering post-independence. We've been suffering ever since.
Please.
Nothing has changed whatsoever.
Let me complete. I want this vicious cycle of bloodshed to end. And for this, National Conference would like to support every move of this government. But that's
what I'm saying. To end the bloodshed, you ensured inclusion of terrorists into mainstream. How has that helped?
But that does not mean that the government will start harassing people. I will reiterate what I said
What has been your one-stop solution, Zishan? Let's not run around the bush. What has been your party's one-stop solution?
I said that we were ready to support every move of the government. We are also ready today only to support every move, any move of this government to end this bloodshed. But that does not mean the government will start harassing people.
See what is necessary.
That
to-
move,
the-
okay, that
the-
move is abrogation of Article
That's of
370 and the
what it-
government claims it's yielded results. Shazia, you want to quickly
It
come
has
in last
not
30
yielded
seconds?
any result.
Okay, it's not yielded
I
results.
do
We
not
have
get-
failed over the last 30 hours to convince Zishan.
Then why there is an increase in terrorist
Zishan, I don't know whether
in last 5 years?
Zishan,
Yeah, I
I
can
don't
hear
know
you.
whether it's
I can
political posturing or plain naivety, or just being too simplistic to assume that the Indian government and the armed forces and a security personnel is harassing people. And to say that, I mean, I don't understand why you would say that. You see the situation, we have to bring it towards normalcy, and who's suffering? It is the citizens. So all the more reason
There are
for you to speak
thousands
in one
of-
voice.
You know, let's not
Thousands of
compel
youth
anyone,
languishing
Zishan, to
in
today
jail.
ask you,
Reason.
whose
There are
side are you
thousands of
on?
youth languishing in jail
By
because of
doing
Kashmir.
that, you're
Yes,
putting
that's
yourself
right.
in a
Different
tight
jails of,
position.
different
But let me
sectors of the
quickly
country.
end that show on that note. We're going to take this forward in hours to come. That's all the time I have. Many thanks, Shazia, Zishan, Wing Commander Abhishek and Aarti for joining us this evening.